artist Lisa Fazio is one of our yearly contributors to World Art Day. Over the years, Lisa has been a part of many worldwide and local organizations donating her time and talent for the benefits of others, including NSTV. Here she is.
Hi everyone, I am Lisa Fazio, artist. How are you today? Thank you so much for tuning in on today's World Art Day. Sit back and relax. It's going to be a wonderful program where I'm going to show you how to work in watercolors and in oils. So let's get started. So for the first part, if you are a novice or if you are an experienced artist, these are going to be great tips that you can take with you. Today's segment, I'm going to be speaking about how to create art with using photographs from your vacations and creating a painting that has really good composition and colors. And then I'm going to talk about how to use a good composition for photographs that you use on location in botanical gardens in the area. Okay, let's get started. So in the past, I have showed you my infamous notebook, which is my sketchbook. If those of you who did not see it, you can go back on past segments and see that. This is a Moleskine watercolor sketchbook that I carry. There's different sizes that you can have. And today I'm going to be featuring the flowers that I have here. Throughout the segment, I'm going to be referring back to here, the sketchbook and my iPad. So when you go out sketching on location, you want to make sure that you're carrying a little bit of a watercolor palette or whatever it is that your medium would be, which would be, let's say, colored pencils. You can carry with you a little bit of an ink pen. We've talked about this in the past. You load the ink before you go, and you start that process. So I will show you a little bit. Here's the sketch. If you can see, this is the sketching part is done in ink here. And then the watercolor part with this little palette I take with me is for the inside part. Some of it I do on location, and some of it I do after when I get back into the studio. But this is how I create the composition to create then a larger painting. Now, when you go out traveling around, this might be too large of a book, and they do sell ones that are smaller. So you'd want to decide what it is that's easy enough for you to travel with. This is one that I carry locally, and again, I have showed this one to you in the past. This is all little special spots on Long Island. So this is Planting Fields. This is Cedarmere. So these are all different places on Long Island that I have drawn in here. And this doesn't take 2 seconds. This takes a while. I might go back during the different seasons. I will start my sketch, let's say now in spring, let it wait its course, and then I'll go back next spring and then maybe finish it. I never want you to feel like you need to be rushed. This is all about you making marks on the paper about how you feel about the location where you are at. Okay, so that's a good way to get started, is you just grabbing a sketchbook and a pencil, some inks, some watercolor, and getting started with that. Another way we do it is if you go and you take your photographs that you have. So this particular client had gone to Japan, and they said they wanted me to create a Zen garden. I've never seen a Zen garden in Japan, but they have. But they wanted 5 elements in the painting, and they wanted me to create a fantasy painting, let's say. So there are many things that you can do on your iPad, and you can download Procreate, which is a wonderful app that's similar to Photoshop, except it's a little bit more user-friendly. So in this is one concept where you take your photograph, if you could see this. You take your photograph and you inlay it in. See, you can kind of see that. Great, thanks for the close-up. And I got to flip the building, so I wanted to create a certain type of reflection. So this is not one of the buildings I used, but I used this for a reference for the reflection, because remember I said I've never been there before. Here's the tree. They said they kind of like this style of the bonsai tree. I've not been there. So in order to be a good artist, you're taking really good reference photos, and this happens to be the clients, and some of them I had to look online. There we go, like that. Again, here's a reflection, and this is the colors. This particular client wanted the painting to be very green. That's not usually my fortes. If you follow me, I like things that are colorful. Here's a bridge. So she gave me 5 elements that she wanted in. She wanted a tree, she wanted a bridge, she wanted the reflection. So here it is again. This is done in Procreate, where I move the figures around, and then that's my line sketch. So you can sketch not only in a sketchbook, but here it is on the iPad as well. And here's like a very light sketch of one of the renderings that I thought I was going to do. I changed it from there. And so let's move on to what I actually did. So let's go over here. This is the painting here. This painting was done in a sketch first. And you notice that this is still done in oil, but I did a lot of line sketching beforehand. And then I interlaid the oil onto it. So here's the reflection. It has many, many layers. It took me a long time. Again, I wanted to give the field of depth, and that's done through color. And here you have some line technique. I have the Buddha here. This is what she wanted. She wanted the distance in the back, and this is how you create a painting from your imagination, and you're using Photoshop, or what, as I called, Procreate, to create the painting. So I'm just giving you different ideas that creativity doesn't just come in one way. Okay, I'm going to go back over here. So now let's begin to what we're actually going to demo today. I just wanted to give you an idea of the flavor of what we're working with. So again, this is a painting that was created from my imagination using photos. And now this one is on location. So let's take a look. So here are photos that I've taken, 1 and 2, at our local botanical garden. So this would be Old Westbury, and these are peonies, and they're not in bloom just now. So if you are an artist like such as myself, or people who love nature, you will follow what is in bloom, right? So right now would be tulips. We're in spring now. This is April. So you want to follow the seasons, but also depends on is the weather. So one year, remember, we had some snow, early snow, and all of the magnolias died, so that we could not even paint them or photograph them. It was so sad. I was like running around trying to grab stuff. Pretty funny. Anyway, so right now in season, we went through crocuses, and now we have our daffodils, and now we're into our tulip season. Again, if it's going to get rainy, you'll only have a short season for that, and our cherry blossoms. So this happens to be June, around the area of June, and this is your peonies here, and they come in a variety of delicious colors. You have very light whitish petals, and you have these pink delicious colors. Notice the backgrounds are different on both of these photographs. I like to get down when I take the photograph. So today we're talking a lot about composition. So it's not just about color and the medium, we're talking about composition. So I like to get really low to pretend I'm like the height of the flower. So here in the background, you see that it has a water fountain in the back. So I took these flowers and took this background and imposed it onto this painting. So here's the large gesture of the flowers. It has the feeling of it. And then it has the background, a little bit of the impression of the water fountain. It's not exactly a replica, but it gives the impression. You have to remember that you have artistic license to do what you want. Okay, and so today I have sketched this out, and I'm going to show you how we're going to transfer that to be a little bit smaller. Okay, so that will be for today. Okay, so now let's talk about oil. So that was the watercolor portion. I showed you the little sketchbook. I showed you how to use the iPad to be creative. All right, so what do I take with me on location? I know it's kind of crazy, but I go to the CVS or one of my pharmacy stores, and I pick up these little vitamin pill bottles. And I'm not putting vitamins in them. I'm putting oil in them. So I like to do this. I put a little bit of a dab of oil with me because I don't want to really carry all the tubes. It makes me crazy. And then I put this in a little plastic bag with a little cotton swab, and I put clove oil. So you're not putting the actual clove oil in the oil. You're putting it on the outside of the container in a plastic bag. Why? Because that is going to keep the oils moist. How long will they last? They last me like weeks, believe it or not. So I like to carry a small portion. Oil paints are very expensive. They can run from $40 up per tube. So you want to really be mindful of that. So what else is this? This is our handy dandy tissue paper that you get from Home Depot. This is, or any kind of really high ply paper. This is a paper towel. These are great to have with you. And then of course our handy wipes. I like to use wet ones because this is oil painting. I'm kind of crazy wearing an all black outfit and fancy jewelry to paint in oils, but I promise not to get it on myself. Then you're going to have your run-of-the-mill brushes. I'm a flat brush painter, so I like to just grab a couple of these, 2, 4, 6, 8 of the different numbers, 12. You have to find what's comfortable for you, but I really work well best in this. And of course, one of your signature brushes, something tiny like this, so to do your branches with that. What else do you take with you? You need a palette knife because you have to take the paint out and put it onto your palette. Let's talk about the palette. This you can pick up at your local arts and crafts store or Michael's. This is a palette sheet. It is gray. I do like to do a neutral tone. I pre-mix the colors, kind of cheated a little. I shorten the time by maybe pre-mixing some of the colors and then doing keynotes, they call it, on location. So everybody knows that when you're watching a beautiful sunset, all of a sudden the colors change too quickly for you to put them on canvas. So I find the trick is to just kind of pre-mix them a little bit. And only because I know my subject, I mean, if you're going to do flowers, you don't really know like how white is the white going to be. So I'm going to just estimate. Get what I'm saying? Okay. The other thing I have here is my little holder for my brushes. And then this is my terp. You want to make sure you get a good terp cover, and everything is, again, Ziploc bag. Your easel, and then your canvas is ready to go. Okay, so for today's, we're going to be working with our sketch here, and we're going to be working with this photo here. So I think to make this a little bit different, I probably will do a combination of maybe the blend of the two colors. Again, I have artistic license to do whatever the heck I want. So let's begin. So I'm going to dip into my brush here, into my terp, and a lot of people like to start with the sky. That, I guess maybe that's a watercolor thing. So we're going to apply the brush strokes on here. A lot of times when people will start working, they will put a very light coat on. There you go, you got me. Thank you so much. So I'm working almost like a dry brush. So I'm not really dipping back into the turpentine. I'm just putting in this color wash. I can come in, add another color, dipping into my white. So I have here my mixed area here, and then I have little dabs of color up here in this well area. When you put the cover on, everything here kind of gets smushed. This doesn't, obviously it's set back. So I'm just applying the colors here, and on the horizon is usually a little bit lighter, so I might add some lighter blue here. And the brush is tainted with the color that I had on previously, so I'm aware of that. So I'm not going to dip into my terp to do a clean wash until I've done a color change. So I'm just giving it a background, and I always make this joke every time I come here that I'm squinting my eyes through because I love Botox. No, because I am looking at the color value. Everyone's probably laughing. Okay. And I'm just putting in this color. And interestingly enough, if you travel around the world like I do, the color of the sky is different in different parts of the world. So for instance, if you go to Arizona, in a warm climate, it is going to be a different color blue. It will have more warmth in it. So we live in Long Island, and this is a cool blue, in my opinion, in the sky. What kind of oil paints do I use? This happens to be King's Blue, which is a favorite blue that I use. This is Williamsburg paint. I use all the different paints. It does pay to buy quality paint, especially when you're buying the white. Why does that make a difference? Because it can be tacky. So I'm just going to throw in this color here so that you can see that's now the background. I can go back in with oil painting and wash it out. Not a big deal. Let's see, let's just make it cleaner looking. Okay. I've noticed this one has clouds. I could always bring in clouds now, why not? So now I'm washing this. The first time you've seen me dip in and wash. I can come in with a little bit of just an indication of. Now what's going to happen is that blue color is going to come in. So I'm just going to give like a little faint idea of a little bit of clouds here. And so this would require me putting more application of paint on. So I'm squinting my eyes. You probably can't see it. It's just a little bit lighter. All right, let's move on to juicy colors. So with watercolor, you would start with the lightest color and then move into your dark because you can't really remove it. But with oil, you have the ability to pull off if you want to, and then the second day you can change it. I'm just pulling off some smuts that I saw. So for this one, I'm going to go right into the whites. Let's see, am I going to use this photo reference or this photo reference? I did want to add some pink, so I think I am going to borrow one of these. Sorry, this thing is not going to stay, and it's too movie for me, so you'll have to trust me. So I'm going to come in with some pinks here. Sorry if you can't see me. So I'm just going to come in here with this pink tone. I'm going to put this palette down so that I can hold the photograph so it's easier for you to see what I'm doing. So I have to figure out which flower am I focusing on. So the way it works in art world, everything that's closer to you is usually warm, and those things that are further away are cooler. That's just the rule of thumb. All right. So also the colors are more brilliant the closer you are. So I'm going to bring in this brilliant pink, And I have to remember the story of what it is. Why did I pick the photograph? Why did I pick this flower? I wanted to pick the gradation of different pinks in here. So I have to make sure that I keep the petals to be different color shades of pink. And I like when it is sort of that tie-dye look where it fades out. So it's sort of in here a little bit. It kind of looks like it was tie-dyed a little bit. So it looks like the tips of the flowers are this darkish pink. I guess I'm not really picking a specific one because this is the drawing of that flower, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do today. But remember, I have artistic license to do whatever I want. So I might do this pinkish one here and then maybe go into the lighter tones. So just as in cooking, where each time you make the recipe, you get to change it a little bit. So I could have copied the same exact thing and showed you, but why do I need another one? Why not do something a little different? So just as when you put your clothes together, you're not always going to put it together exactly the same, right? It's a different day. So why should I do that with painting? Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I have to paint a little quicker because I just see we have halfway done here. I'm going to come in with a lighter color. So now I'm coming in with this kind of peachy tone and adding some white to lighter color to it, so it has the two tones. So I'm going to just paint and show more because I want to make sure I have a decent amount on here for you to see. So here's that lighter tone. This is what makes the picture uber delicious, is when you have more than one color in each petal. Okay? And again, I'm squinting my eyes and I'm deciding how much am I going to blend and how much am I going to leave in that fresh stroke. That's sort of my forte. This is the petal that's in the front, so I'm just going to refer to my photograph. So in this one, it has a shadow. That's the shape of this one here. And are there any petals? Here's one that's similar to it. So if I'm squinting, it looks like this is lighter in the back because the sun is hitting on it, and this is darker in the front. See how you do that? You're improvising on the spot. It's sort of like in the morning when you get up and you realize that shirt you put on just doesn't look the same anymore. You're improvising. People will say, oh, I'm not really an artist. You are making decisions all day long that, in my mind, are sort of creative. Okay, because this is about making decisions, right? All right, that looks pretty good. I want to make sure I have petals that say I'm different petal. So again, I'm squinting my eyes. So this one we said would be in a cool. So that's going to be, I'm going to add some more of a, I'm going to see what this looks like. Now also, you don't know what the color is going to look like until you put it next to it. So you could go to the store and pick out that shirt that the mannequin is wearing and it doesn't look the same on you, right? Same principle. I don't know what it's going to look like until I actually put it on. So I made it extremely cool. It's purple, yes, you are right. And now I'm adding the rose tone to it. Because this is oil, so I can blend it. See, with watercolor, I'd have to really know what color it's going to be right ahead of time. So I'm going to make sure I'm going to wipe a little bit here because I'm done with that purple being too purple. And I want to make sure it's more of a clean rose color on the second half of this leaf here. Squinting my eyes. So now that's really standing out to me. So I will bring in that purple tone in another area of the flower so it looks like it's married to it, right? I don't want it to look like it's some other foreign. Let's see. I think I'm just making a different flower here than the actual is. All right, let me go back to looking at the reference. All right, I see what I have to do next. I do like this. I think it's sort of a made-up flower, but that's okay. I kind of like that. All right, I'm going to put in my warm color in the middle so I have one flower completed. It sort of has this orange tone in here. It's not deep enough for me, so I'm going to add in some more orange. I want it to really, there we go. I want the color to sing. Again, I'm squinting my eyes, and that's the center. Again, it doesn't pop enough for me. I'm a pop girl, so I'm going to add in some, there we go. And this says middle notice I'm not even looking at the photograph. I don't really care at this point. This is what I think it needs. Boom, that looks good to me. And now the only thing I might want to do, because I really love that, I might add in that light tone. Again, squinting my eyes in other parts of the flower. This is me improvising. I'm not looking at what it says it is. If I wanted it to look like the photograph, why don't I just keep the photograph? You get what I'm saying? I want it to look like something I created. I'm blending it off so it makes sense. I'm kind of using the bend of the flower to determine, and that looks fine to me. Pretty, right? I think that came out good. I'm adding in some light colors. And I'm just adding in these highlights. So this is the flower that I'm copying here. So I started out with my lighter color. And again, I'm still using the same principle of squinting my eyes a little bit. This is going to come in with these purple tones. That's a little too purple for me. And I will do this, smush it together. So this is kind of making a melon color. Pretty, right? Yeah. Pretty. A melon color. So again, it's hard for you to see because I need to put the negative space in of the green. It's okay. Again, I'm squinting my eyes because it helps me with color value. It's very pretty. So I'm looking at the family of here to here. Wow, I'm taking so long to paint this. I'm going to try to get in as much as I can. Put that one in. Well, what takes the longest is the color variation that I keep putting in. It's going back and forth and back and forth. I don't want to rush the process. If I'm enjoying myself, why would I do that? Why do you eat your ice cream fast? I don't eat my ice cream fast. I'm enjoying the process, so you should too. I'm putting in the middles as I did on the other one. And notice you really can't see that orange. Same idea, I'm going to pop it out with this light yellow, like I did on the other one, and see if that works. I think I need to add just one more highlight on here. Here we go. I'm going to put in some green now, because you're dying for me to do the negative shape. So the negative shape is the shape around. Oh boy, that's really dark. I don't know if I wanted to go that dark so fast, but okay. You can use your turpentine and just pull that color out. So let's do some negative painting. Wow, 4 minutes. Okay, here we go. So I'm thinking light green in some areas and dark, and so you need to think, is the sun hitting this spot or not hitting this spot? Let's see how much of this I can get in. This is a yellow-green. Definitely is in the background because this would be where the sun is hitting the most. As a general rule, people don't usually like to do warmth in the background. Remember I said to you that warmth would indicate front. So I don't want to bring that color too far back. And now this is that negative space I was telling you about. So now you'll be able to see it a little bit better. Some people like to paint in the negative space first, if they're not sure. I want to put those stems in. So let's just continue getting this green off of my brush. Negative, some of these stems, I'm going to make them brown. I don't know if they do have sort of a brownish tone. Again, you can refer back to one of the photos I have up there. And because I am designing the painting, I get to decide where these are. according to what I'm feeling at the moment. So I really love these little baby buds here. I don't want them all to be in a line. And also not everything is green. Sometimes there's other colors, so I'll be popping other colors in here. So I'm just thinking of the negative shape, the shape going across. Kind of cool, isn't it? So I'll try to put in as much color as I can so that you have an idea of how we do this. And, you know, outside it might be a little windy, there might be people. I was painting outside yesterday. It was a beautiful day, and people are stopping to ask questions. Relax, enjoy the moment, you know? And if you can't finish all of it on location, you just finish it back in the studio. Okay, make sure I get some more shapes in here so that you can see how we create negative shape here into flowers. Is it looking like something to you? I'm going to just throw in this color here. So you would just continue to keep layering this, putting in your lights, putting in your darks, and you would take your time, like making color decisions along the way. And notice you can't really see this, but I'm squinting the whole time as I'm sitting here. And this one is just going to be more of a pinkish tone flower. This is really pretty. Again, I didn't want to create another exact replica of the other painting. I love the shapes. I'm going to add in that deep pink again. That was I think I fell in love why I like the other one. Yep, here we go. I like that. So it's about color harmony within the whole thing. You wouldn't put, you know, a Christmas outfit on the top of your body and a Halloween on the bottom for your pants. So you want to make sure that it has some harmonious blend together. And you have a little bit of artistic license as to what you want to do with that, you know? Again, I'll do the middle here. Not too orangey. I'm not at Halloween here, Lisa. Not too orangey, but just indicating that it's a little bit more bolder. I'm just squinting my eyes again. There you go. I think once you put middles in, somehow that looks like it puts it all together. All right, I know I don't have enough time to finish all of this, but this kind of gives you an idea of where you want to start and where you want to end. So I hope that you found this segment to be inspiring. I just want to say that you can take your ideas through creativity, through the camera. Your iPhone is a wonderful tool. I mentioned to you that you can use the iPad and start doodling on that. Your sketchbook, begin to journey through that as well. And that doesn't always have to be with shapes. It could also just be with words. Creativity doesn't come in one form. So for today, I'm going to leave you with this. Just get out there and get started. If you get stuck, I'm going to be doing demonstrations throughout the year. You can follow me on lisafazioartist.com, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I'm on social medias. I hope you come and join me. I hope you feel inspired. With this, it's a good day to be an artist. Enjoy. Take care.